I hate when you go online and people are like, who's tg.blk? How ni akina nani? Like, who are these people?
It's the way
Like,
they
and then
ask it
start
too.
trying to like,
How ni
yeah,
akina
it
nani?
sounds
It's just
like you're
like-
trying to, bro. There's somebody who in my comments was like, oh, Spotify actually goes through all these hoops to make sure it only promotes female artists on my page, even female artists I haven't listened to. Like, there's some huge conspiracy to make it so that there's only female artists on that list.
I hope that you start to feel the sunshine in your cracks. I hope that you start to heal with all the starlight in your heart. For you deserve a brand new love. You deserve the sky up above. You do. You do. I hope that you start to live the dreams inside your soul.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 113 of the 30% podcast. I go by Afomefuna. My co-host goes by Sam Jedediah Are. And we hope that this podcast ranks highly on your personal Maslow's hierarchy. Sam, what's up?
That's why you asked. I thought you were going to do something clever with it.
Shh. I wasn't. No, Sam, don't break. Can you stop?
I thought you were going to do something clever with the Maslow's hierarchy. Is that what
wasn't.
we have? Okay, man. All right.
That's oh my god. Yeah, Sam, I hate you in this
Oh,
moment.
my
I hate
bad.
you
I'm
so
so
much.
sorry, man.
I hate
No, but
you
it's cool. It's
so
cool.
much right
yeah.
now.
I
No.
hope it's
Oh my
on top
god,
of-
you guys don't know how much I hate Sam right now. Anyway, Sam,
I
how
thought you were
are
going
you?
to do something. Don't
I
waste.
hope you've
don't waste Maslow
had
like
a
that.
horrible. No, Sam. I hope you've had a horrible week.
You can't. Don't. Did I have a horrible week? Nah. See, your hope has fallen flat on his face. Now my week was chill. It was chill.
Fine.
It was cool.
I wouldn't hope you. I take
You
that
already
back.
did,
I
though.
would. I
No
wouldn't wish
taxi
that
backsies.
on you.
No taxi backsies.
So what did
I'm
you
doing
do?
all right, man. I'm doing all right. I am just getting into work and play and life. Not much happened, honestly. I want to see if there's anything interesting that happened this week. Nah, fam. It's just been sleeping, waking up, working out, just being regular, being a regular human being. But yeah, that's that. Just chilling. Did you do anything interesting? Please say
Just chilling. I did actually.
nice.
Ended up going for Foster was throwing a party again.
Hey.
He has a new brand called Last Night's Media. Well, no, it's just called Last Night. And yeah, man, they had a house party on Friday, and that was pretty
Anyone
nice.
fight?
No, nobody fought, but one
Did
girl
someone
fell down
embarrass themselves?
Yeah, she fell right into the DJ booth, and like music had to stop for like 20
Nice.
minutes. It was quite
Nice.
the sight. If you guys watch Neural Viz on TikTok, you know what I mean when I say it was quite the sight. I hope somebody knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I did that, and then actually had an interesting. So over the weekend, there was a beat that I posted on my story. I was like, yo, I've been looking for somebody who can hop on this beat. And so I posted it. I was like, yo, I'll give whoever gives me like the best like suggestion, like I'll give you half of my royalties as well as production credits. And wait, Sam, so many people like actually got back to me with ideas. It was actually so crazy, kind of overwhelming. But yeah, man, I believe I have like an artist who I'm gonna send that specific beat to.
Oh, nice.
So that was actually a very interesting. It was interesting. I've never done something like that. It was like A&R by story. And it was like so many people narrating
story.
ideas to me. I don't know how to like, yeah, but that was nice. That was
that's
fun.
interesting. I saw Modest Jabari. I don't get that wrong. But he did something similar as well, where he posted that he wants to work with someone that like people should send him whatever, and he also got overwhelmed. Maybe that's like the new way of getting work. Like instead of us going out and trying to get placements, like just yo guys, here's this beat. Whoever sends me the best verse or whatever.
It's nice. Listen, and it's nice because I feel like when you're a producer, you're always just like, who can I send this to? And then you send it to certain people and maybe they're not feeling it that much. But then when you ask around and you're like, who likes this beat? Like people enthusiastically volunteer. Yeah. And so it's just like a more like happy way way to make music. You know what I mean? Because it's like everyone wants to do this, so it's just like, it's kind of cool. I don't know. So yeah, I did that. Did I do anything interesting? I'm learning how to use Photoshop, Sam.
Okay. I think you've talked about this before. You talked about learning Photoshop. Now you're getting
overwhelmed. But now I'm getting really like into it because, you start and it's just so confusing and there's so many buttons and things that do things and then
converts to layer, smart layer.
Oh my God, smart layer, merging them and then making them into groups. I'm like, when should I make something a group? When should I merge a layer? When should I rasterize? When should I make it a smart object? It's so confusing. But I think I'm finally at least understanding the basic concepts so I can watch tutorials and kind of follow along with what they're doing. So I'm doing a lot of that and it's actually very, very fun. Just learning a new skill. I'm learning it because I need to. Literally, I have no time. I need to figure this out. So yeah, that's my week. I don't want to bore you guys with the rest of my week. Sorry.
That's fun.
What happened in the news this week, man? Sam,
industry business. What do we start with? So,
do you want to start with the Spotify conversation or the Sauti Sol conversation?
Let's start Sauti Sol. I think it's less serious. And I mean, is it much of a conversation, honestly? So Chimano was talking about how much, first off, the amount of people I've heard say that Sauti Sol needs to it's enough now. Like, okay, you guys broke up, but then every week you're finding a way to put yourselves in the news. Those are haters. That's not me. Those are not my words. Those are the words of other people. So, of course, they're in the news again. And Chimano was talking about how much it would cost to book Sauti Sol to perform. Of course, now they're broken up, so their numbers would probably be different. Do you think the numbers would... Of course, the numbers would go up now that they're broken up, right? Like, as a group, if you break up, you would ask people to pay more for you guys to show up together.
Interesting. I didn't think about it like that, but now that you mention it, that would make sense.
That would make sense because, like, all right, we're living our lives separately, and you have to pay us enough for us to want to do that. We're not as artists together. But anyways, so he was talking about
before you continue. Before you continue, is Chimano promoting something, or who was he talking to, and like what was the context?
Yo, Afam, we're so jaded, man.
No, I'm just asking.
Because this happened with the Up Until and Gengeton, talk. You're like, oh man, what are they? Is someone trying to promote something? It's not always, man. I think we're giving too much credit to these guys. I think we're giving too much credit to them. I don't think it's trying to promote something.
Like literally, I saw an article about Xenia, and she was talking about whether she's going to get married and like her past, like going to Berkeley. And I
Love
was
hate
like,
part 3.
I'm reading. I'm reading this, and I'm like, is something coming? Like, why am I reading this? But usually that's the case. Like whenever there's an article, there's something coming or something being promoted. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So so essentially he talked about, okay, if you're to book the 4 boys Chimano, Bien, Savara, and Fancy Fingers, you will not be getting them below. Well, it's not way below 100K. That's $100,000, which comes to 30 million, and a minimum. They charge a minimum of
13 million
shillings. Yeah.
Wait, did you just say 13 million Kenya
did.
shillings just to book them?
Yeah, and they in most cases they won't charge a minimum of. I mean, they'll charge a minimum of $40,000, which is 5 million shillings for a 1 hour performance. Then he goes on to say it's expensive to run a band, and it costs quite a bit. It costs quite a bit, especially if it's not a local show. There's a lot that needs to happen, and I've been privy to that in the back ends of just all the different moving parts to book. Just one singular artist is a lot. Now imagine if you're carrying 4 guys around.
So what usually are the moving parts?
So moving parts is
out of curiosity.
All right, so you have the main artists, right? You have the artists,
yeah,
and then you have the artists managers and the people who keep the show going, and then you have the band, which is like super important if they carry their own band. So you have to move all those people. A band would have 8 people, maybe 6 to 8 people if it's a small band, and then you have the band's equipment now. And then if you're taking sound, that's also like it's a lot to move, and things are not cheap to be moving cross country and all that business, buses and everything. It's really expensive, and then you probably have to travel with a cook if it's more than a day show. And just a bunch of other things. It costs quite a bit to move around as an artist. So that's why a lot of the times the shows are very expensive. So it makes sense. Now, for them, if you do the math, honestly, I think sometimes artists suffer because, and this has been the testimony of a lot of artists. Like if you just ask an artist, sometimes after a show, if you don't have like a huge sponsor, what you take home is kind of crazy. It's like a very minimal show because you've paid out a lot. Of course, if you're paying, there's some people who don't pay and they get about that. But that's kind of how you break it down. And there's more involved, but that's really just the basis of it. It's just a lot of people to move. Hotel costs, paying for all of those people, feeding. It's just, it's a lot of money.
Bro, yeah, I'm just searching up on it, and it's like it's actually everything you've said. There's artist market value, of course. Yeah. There's the performance fee, which is the core payment to the artist on their management for their time, talent, and brand. Then there's travel and accommodation, which is essentially what you've said. Production requirements, so for their rider, for their band or their crew as well. Let's see. Oh, there's also insurance and taxes. That's also a thing. Clearly, I didn't. Yeah, the event may require artists' insurance to cover cancellations, injuries, or damages. That's interesting. Taxes. The artist fee may be subject to local taxes and international bookings, which may involve additional tax obligations. What else is there? So they're also saying there is a booking agent fee as well. So there's the manager who is also considered, and there's the booking agent who's also considered. Timing and exclusivity as well. Weekend shows, holidays, or peak touring seasons might cost more than midweek dates. Exclusivity, if the artist is restricted from performing in the same market within a certain time frame, this can increase their fee. Interesting.
Of course, labels love to do that. They love to limit artists and tell them when not to perform and when to perform, and they still want 100%. But yeah, so that's cool for a band like Sauti Sol. I mean, it's 4 members, and then it's just so much. I would think that number makes sense. I would even think it should be higher because, like they would tell you is they've built a brand. And
so you disagree with the people who are like 13 million is like, bruh, this is bougie now. Like, come, 13 million Kenya shillings.
I wouldn't think for a good show.
With the people.
No, for a good show.
Yeah.
Not like a 1 hour show though. Not a 1 hour show. Like a proper, maybe a couple of hours performing a bunch of their songs. I wouldn't think that if the promoters and whoever is hosting the show has that money, I wouldn't think that's crazy because Sauti Sol, at this point, they've become a staple. Now, I know that seems like a lot to people in terms of that, but then there's a lot that goes into craft. And as you age in your art, your price, if you age properly, your price goes up. I think Sauti Sol have managed to stay in the positive light for the most part, and they've been successful individually. And so their pricing and just their leverage is a little bit high. So I wouldn't think that 100,000. I mean, okay, let's do a comparison. What kind of artists do you think, or rather, what artist do you think is in that 100K range? In like, let's just do the West, because I don't know if you'll have anyone here.
Okay, so
or maybe Africa.
So yeah,
Africa or the West. Let's try Nigeria first, and then we go to Nigeria, South Africa, then we go to the West.
How much was Rema paid for the recent performance? We said it here on the podcast. Was it like, how much was it?
Was it that? Oh, no. I remember. Let me check.
I can't remember how much. Okay, well, let me not be limited to Africa, and let me just I want to first agree with you, because I think $100,000 to book a band with 4 artists is actually really little. I know it sounds crazy. I know, like, here, 13 million just to book a Sauti Sol for a show. Are you all crazy? It's actually little money. So I'm just doing my Googles. Like, 100,000 is what you would spend on.
No, sorry. Before you continue, so that you can flesh out your thoughts. So Rema was paid between 200 and 300,000, maybe a little bit higher than 300K, $300,000 rather.
See, so that's literally 3 times what Sauti Sol are charging, and they are a band. So that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, $100,000 is what you'd pay like a mid-tier. Like a lower, I think you would pay to like a lower to upper. You just pay to the mid-tier artists, like especially like in America. Now I know we're not in America, but like I'm just trying to contextualize it. Like, that's what you would pay like an NLE Chopper. I don't know if any of you listens to NLE Chopper, but like that's what he would charge. Like somebody like NLE Chopper would charge. I know. Like I even Google, like it says he charges between $75,000 to $200,000 for a show. Like. Like for the value that Sauti Sol bring, man, they should be charging way more actually. Like, bro, these people charging like 300, 350, for a show. And that's fine. They're a band. 100,000 is actually really low balling them, in my opinion.
I think
and Rema charging like, around 300 makes sense.
Yeah, I think artists like NLE Chopper, they now this is just a theory. I'm just thinking about this as I say it. But I feel like they'd put it that low, like a 7, because NLE Chopper is a pretty popular artist, right? But he'll put it that low, 75, just so that he gets. Like, they're just like, it's just $75,000. We have 75 for you. And so he'll now multiply that like 10, 20 times, rather than putting his show up at a maybe like a 200,000, 150, 200,000, and then he gets like way less bookings. So I think that might be also strategic in terms of putting it low, low balling the promoters and whatnot.
Yeah.
But Sauti Sol is not low balling.
I'm looking at
well, maybe they are.
It's actually that's below how much they should be charging, honestly. I'm looking at some of these smaller artists, like in America, like the underground artists, like they would charge around like 30,000 for a show, which is what in Kenyan money. That's like
in Kenyan money, in shillings, you mean? in Kenyan money.
I'm so fried. What's 30,000 times 130? Sam, do the maths for me, please.
Bruh, it's late. All right, let's do the math. Let's do some math. 30,000 times 1?
30,000.
Sorry for subjecting you guys to this. I really apologize.
I know, it's not ideal. So it's 39... It's 3 million. Let's just call it 4 million, Bob. For a small artist, like this is a small artist. So I Googled, there's this artist I listen to called Kyle Rich. He's really blowing up right now. And that's how much he charges. And I'm just like, bruh, that's a small artist. Who would charge 4 million Kenya shillings for a show in Kenya? Like, somebody who is like, somebody who's kind of big. Now, obviously, our spending power is way different from America, but
Yeah.
I think there's a conversation to be had. Obviously,
There is. And I guess
it's not.
to add on that, like I think a lot of people when they see money, they don't really think about what goes into it. So they say, "Oh, it's just Sauti Sol. Why are they being charged so much? I mean, why are they charging so much for a show?" But then there's a lot that goes into being an artist, monetary wise, and financially. Sorry, and so it benefits them to do the best for their business. Even you, like if a random person becomes an artist, when you get to that point, there's a balance between wanting to get enough work and not like overprice yourself out of the market unless you have like crazy amounts of leverage. And then there's dang, I forgot what I was saying. There's a balance to do that and making a proper profit and doing the best for yourself in terms of the business. So it's cool, man. Book the boys, please. It's a win for them is a win for us.
Yeah, book the boys. And actually, listen, I think, bro, they should be actually charging a little bit more because they're our biggest acts, right? And so if they're going to people with 100,000, like nobody's gonna pay attention to somebody else who's coming to them with like 100,000. They'll be like, well, but Sauti Sol are charging this, so we're going to charge you less. So if they up their prices, then everybody goes up, in my simplistic way of thinking.
Yep.
So hey,
Economics
book the boys.
101.
Sam. So there's a huge conversation going on X or Twitter, actually on Twitter. And it was actually quite compelling because there seemed to be a lot of shock and like, what? Like, what's happening? So essentially, it was posted that one of the most streamed artists in the country is Barbara Wangui. And a lot of people were very thrown off because everybody would expect it to be the prime suspects, such as BN or
Sophia
Nyashinsky or Calligraph Jones or somebody who they would expect, right? Or Sauti Sol, of course. But no. And, looking into the numbers a little bit, you begin to see you begin to see things that I think are very interesting. So obviously, the most streamed artist in the country on Spotify anyway is Sophia Nzao.
Yeah.
The second most streamed artist in the country, well, as of the time of recording, is tg.blk. And number 3 was Barbara Wangui. And then I believe 4 and 5 would be BN and Id Aziz interchangeably.
Which makes sense.
I think they're very close. And this is surprising. I even put out a tweet like, the top 3 most streamed artists in Kenya are women. And some people were like, what? Like, who are these people? Like, a lot of, it's
Pandemonium.
True. A lot of people were like,
the outrage.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, who is tg.blk? Who is Barbara? Like, what's happening? And I think there's a conversation to be had here. One, Sam, why do you think people felt so blindsided by this, like,
the news
fact?
Yeah, I mean, well, so Kenya is a interesting place because there's just so many different tastes. But the majority of people listen to more pop music. And by pop music, I'm going to probably say Afropop. What other genres could be in there? I think it's primarily Afropop that we listen to in its different forms.
And Gengetone.
Yeah.
And Gengetone and its derivatives.
Yeah. Gengetone and all of them. So that's what the majority of people would be listening to. At least that's what I would say.
Of Kenyans.
Yes. Because no, we're just talking about Kenyans. But a lot, the artists that are really thriving the most are in like niche pockets. Like Sofian Zhao is doing a lot more Afro house. tg.blk, of course, is what was tg.blk is just doing tg.blk at this point. Like she's just doing everything, but it's also niche. It's not like in the mainstream. And then we'll have Barbara Wangui, whose her original music is very folk instrumental type music. So people are outraged because they're shocked that what they are putting their time and effort to is not really what's the most popular. Now
on Spotify.
Some people, of course, there's an argument, is Spotify reflective of real life? I don't think it is. I think it's numbers, but I do think it has something to say. I think the numbers have something to say. It might not be the most important conversation, but they do have something to say. Yeah, it's interesting. Kenya is very interesting. A lot of what we listen to it's our tastes. Our tastes have developed. So when it's something negative and something outside of that, and I don't want to philosophize it too much, but it almost seems like people are out of control, or rather, they don't have as much control over the music. But that's going a completely different route. I just think that they're unfamiliar with the music, and so they're shocked. If I was to break it down, I've talked around it, but then that's it. They're just unfamiliar with what these people are doing, and so some of them don't like it. Some of them are shocked. Some of them are, I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, so I'll break down some of the numbers, but these numbers are from a couple of days ago, so things have shifted a little bit, but the artists are still around the similar figures. So, for example, Watanda Willie have around 268,000 monthly listeners. By the way, that's insane. Charisma has 176,000. Bensoul 400.
This is Kodonklan you're reading out.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Chris Kaiga has around 140,000. Nyashinsky is at 166,000. Calligraph is at 87,000. Interesting. Triomio is at 115,000, which is I'm actually very impressed by that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, me too. That's interesting.
I know. Like, come on. Meja 66,000. Interesting. Femi One around 58,000. Benzema around 53,000. Ochungulu family around 22,000, which is very interesting. Karun 93 around there. Zinnia around 179, 180. Mayamolo 25,000. Butros around 150,000. Femi One around that 58,000 mark. And these are artists who we would say most people would be more familiar with than the top 5, which we said is tg.blk.
That's now
Sauti Sol.
in the mainstream pop
well,
scene, because now there's more sounds outside of that people listen to that aren't necessarily counting numbers the way we're counting numbers. So like that's a whole different conversation.
So let me ask. So for me, and I'm going to I didn't actually know too much about Barbara Wangui's music before this whole conversation. And I found it interesting because it's like, also me, like, how come I never heard so much about her music before this discourse started?
Yeah.
And I think now when we also look at where a lot of these streams are coming from, then you begin to realize this is a conversation about consumer habits. And the fact that streaming hasn't really penetrated Kenya as much as we talked about this in passing last week. But yeah, streaming hasn't really penetrated as much as we would have liked it to. And that's because, okay, so the top 5 we said, it's Sophia, it's TG, it's Barbara, it's BN, and it's Id Aziz. So 3 out of the 5 of those, is it 3 out of the 5? No, 4 out of the 5 derive their streams primarily outside of the country.
Yeah.
If you do the math. Just go on Spotify and check at the bottom where their most listeners are coming from. You can see the cities and you'll find the information you're looking for. And yeah, I just find it very interesting to see that, damn, streaming is just not like that big here. But I like it. I like that artists have figured out ways to, bro, if my music isn't gonna appeal to y'all primarily, I'm gonna still find a way to get it hard. And that means that there's still value in this music. Because there's people who listen to it a lot and value it a lot. Right? I don't think I hate when you go online and people are like, who's tg.blk? How ni akina nani? Like, who are these people?
It's the way
Like,
they
and then
ask it
start
too.
trying to like
How ni
yeah,
akina
it
nani?
sounds
It's
like
just
you're trying to bro, there's somebody who in my comments was like, oh, Spotify actually goes through all these hoops to make sure it only promotes female artists on my page, even female artists I haven't listened to. Like, there's some huge conspiracy to make it so that there's only female artists on that list.
They were accusing Barbara Wangui of bots.
No, it's not bots. It's not bots. But
they were accusing her of her all her, or not all her followers, but most of her followers are bots. And if you just go to her Spotify page and do a little bit of science and just a bit of research, you'd understand why she's getting that much. But people are just so lazy in terms of. And here's the problem. What? So, all right. So I had sent someone earlier. I'll just read it out. And it says, we always make it about the artists not making music for the general audience. So now we're talking about like this niche artists. Like, they don't make the music for the general audience. But it's difficult for fans to acknowledge. Fans don't want to acknowledge music other than what they enjoy and what they like, right? And there's this, recently we've had this whole push about play KE music, and so many people are doing great with that, and playlists, and it's just really doing well. But then when it's not the music, it's not the KE music that you enjoy primarily, all of a sudden it's like bots, and it's
and bro, and that becomes such a slippery slope, because it's like, at the end of the day, the music that tg.blk makes, yes, sure, maybe you could say it has a lot of like Western influence. The music that Sofian Zhao and Idaziz hop on, which is the EDM stuff, that's primarily like European etc. Like, sure, you could have that argument, but it's Kenyans who are doing it. And I feel like that's a huge argument to say this is still Kenyan music, because they're adding their own spin onto this music. You know what I mean?
True.
So it doesn't, for me, it doesn't make it any less Kenyan. And the slippery slope is that, like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was I was going to say Sofian Zhao is singing in Kikuyu. People are throwing Swahili and stuff in there. Like it's not, it's Kenyan.
And for me, I feel like the best music always comes when you fuse genres. That's when you make magic. Like, honestly, like, even me in my production, when I say, ooh, I want to do a drum and bass song, but I'll try and add like Afrobeat elements. That's when you start cooking, like, for real. Like, that's when now you're starting to make things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got into a slippery slope where like artists now feel like, damn, like now all I can make is this and that. And then you feel very limited and caged. You know what I mean? And I just think artists should have the freedom to hop on whatever it is that they want to hop on.
Without being accused of using bots, yes.
Without being accused of using bots. And I guess this is also ultimately very freeing, because it means if you're an artist in Kenya, like, you will find your audience. Sofian Zhao, Idaziz, tg.blk, Barbara Wangui figured out a way to do so. Sofian Zhao and Idaziz, we know the pathway. We've talked about the pathway that they do, that they achieve this now. And bro, it's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. And all these DJs are gonna like be foaming at the mouth to try and work with Idaziz and Sofian, because they want that. They also want that like authentic experience in their music, and there's no way to get that apart from working with our artists. And through that, we're disseminating Kenyan music to the whole world. So we're actually winning. We're actually winning at the end of this, there's no reason to be like resistant towards it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
TG,
I mean, it's a matter of tastes. It's a matter of taste. So if your primary music is if your primary music is, let me not mention a specific artist because it's going to come off wrong. If your primary music is like an Afropop artist or whoever it is, like hip hop, like drill, Kenyan drill, and you see someone else blowing up, and it just
but we never get mad. We never get mad at the drill artists for hopping on drill beats. Drill is primarily a concept
double standards.
that comes
Double
from
standards for sure.
Exactly. Those are double standards because drill comes from the UK and Chicago. You know what I mean? Like it's not Kenyan. Like
and all the artists doing
like the stuff
Amapiano that comes from South Africa.
That comes from South Africa.
West Africa. But yeah, so it's interesting, man. I do think we need to support Kenyan music in whatever form it is. Like, let's stop cherry picking what form we are going to support and, I've never heard of this person because you've not listened to this person. How about you do some work and open up your ears to more sounds within the genre? Maybe there's stuff that you're ignoring that you would like, as an artist. I don't want to sound like I'm preaching because I also need to do that more. Is that maybe there's stuff that I'm not necessarily drawn to immediately that I could get with just because I've spent a little bit more time with it and given some artists more chances, Like there's so much more we could do than just having this playlist of the same type of music and just keeping that and then now complaining when other people make it. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, there's another conversation to be had about music distribution. I don't know if I want to have it now, but
we want to touch on it.
When you partner with music distributors that are outside of the country, you get so much more reach and so much more just value because like they're able to expose you to so many different like markets. I feel like distributing from within the country sometimes can be a little bit limiting.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
But that's a conversation for another day. And if you have the opportunity to do something similar, I don't know, put other people's business out there.
No, like, please.
I think you should take
That's
it.
That's why we exist. Please. Let's name names. Name names. Ruin all your friendships and relationships for the pod, for the sake of the pod.
No, I wouldn't do so. But like, I think, and that opens you up so much, like more, because then you're able to really have your music played out there, and just distributed like widely. So yeah, man, like it is what it is. And also like those companies are also able to like monitor your royalty situation and collect your money more efficiently. We've talked about the CMO situation back home and stuff like that. But this is that, to be honest, that's stuff that you only consider when you reach a certain level, or if you have certain access. I mean, it might be a bit of a detached conversation. But I'm just saying, if you ever get into a point of your career where that opportunity opens up for you, then I think you can also, you should consider it at least.
Yeah.
And see how to go about it.
Also,
I
guess to continue with that, there's different opportunities. Like if you look at Barbara Wangui, so she does a lot of folk, like acoustic stuff, right? But the songs that she has gotten the most play on is she does like voice acting. She does like she's in the film side of things.
Yeah.
And 2024 they dropped a project she was involved in dropped an EP which has gotten like a whole bunch of plays, which is almost the same thing that happened with Sophie Nzao, where she dropped a song and it really picked up immediately, right? So also like just figuring out what you're comfortable with and then getting that done. And that works for artists. That works for, rather than staying, because a lot of artists, I feel like they just stay in their own lane and they're doing the same thing over and over again and they don't want to try different things. But it's just it's a good way to see how much further you can go in terms of an artist rather than just sticking to what you know and what you're comfortable with. But yeah, man, Y'all stop
Yeah.
hating.
Yeah, let's stop hating.
Celebrate,
and,
man. Celebrate people.
And celebrate. Let's celebrate everyone. So
And-
shout out to
And
everyone.
numbers aren't anything.
sorry?
So for those artists who are mad and foaming at the mouth and just fuming in their rooms, numbers aren't everything. There's a lot more. We're just bringing this up, and we're using the numbers angle because that's what works currently for the conversation. But numbers aren't everything. So just y'all relax. Come on, please. And thank you.
And thank you. Okay, so new music, Sam. What did we listen to this week, or what should we have listened to?
Cool.
Okay, let me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you go. Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I'll just highlight a couple of things that caught my attention. First, okay, let me talk about Matata. Matata dropped. They dropped a song called Tuma Mado. I was going to butcher that wrong. Black Tax. And of course, it's a socially conscious song talking about, socially conscious things. And what was really interesting is their video for me. The song was produced by Wodomolo. The video is, they said that they were talking about how much they put into the video, and they've had like a bunch of different concepts that they scrapped. And if you watch the video, it's just very, very, it looks like they put in a lot of work into it, which is really cool to see. I mean, Matata are usually known for their videos. They have good music too, but then like their videos have caught attention. There's that one, what's that song called, where they're in the grocery store, which caught everyone's attention, and that's what really put Matata on the map, I think. But yeah, man, so they released Tuma Mado at the beginning of the year, and that's cool, man. Looking forward to see what they did. They're also an act that I want to see get on that level, because I think they really think about what they're doing and they do it well. So yeah, I'm just hoping for the best for them. What else was released this week? Mandy is tired,
bro.
Man. Mandy.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Mandy. Sorry.
Mandy is absolutely tired. Mandy dropped a song called Ishia, and she's just fed up, bro. She's fed up with whoever the man who that was who did whatever he did. Like she's done. She was just hating the whole track, and I'm here for it, man. It's an interesting track. It's an interesting track. Yeah, I would say I enjoyed it. I think it was cool. Silverstone Bars and Scam Cardinali dropped Explain It. It's just rapping. I like Scam Cardinali, man. It's cool. And Silverstone brought the bars. Yikes. But yeah, that was cool. What else? I don't want to burn it out, because you always say I burn out all the music and I leave nothing for you. So go ahead.
I'd never say that, first of all. If you're listening to this for the first time, that's right. A lie. Okay, no, let me not say that. Yo, we have to talk about the boy. And we're not talking about Drake. We're talking about Kahush.
Definitely.
Who might as well be the Drake of the Kilimani rappers.
What? Yo,
so
you can't just say things you can't say things like that with no evidence and no proof.
I can.
You just draw.
Yes,
right.
I can. What do you mean
Kahush
there's no evidence?
Is the Drake of the Kilimani rappers.
The proof is in the pudding, bro.
He dropped a surprise on us.
Kahush is legendary.
He dropped a surprise on us.
No, Kahush has solidified his name in the industry, my guy. Anyway. No, but it's true though. Do you know how many people were waiting for Kahush to drop?
I mean, me included. I'm not going to lie. I won't lie.
Included.
I won't lie.
You included, my guy.
I was in there. I was waiting for nice Kahush.
Because I remember project. You asked, you are like, where did Kahush disappear to? Yeah. Let me tell you, he's been cooking, and he has been cooking a project that came out called Kiyama. And yo, man, we listen to it. I mean, he didn't disappoint. He did what Kahush does best. Like, it's a bunch of one-liners that are extremely hilarious. But sometimes he says something like that's really deep and thoughtful and meaningful, and you're like, I didn't know Kahush, like, because the way he presents himself, sometimes you would think
it's just jokes. It's jokes and games.
Yeah, exactly. But bro, like, you listen to songs like Number 14, Maji Haina Shida, like, and
number 13.
That's actually like a very, number 13, sorry. Yeah. Like, that's actually a very, like, thoughtful.
It's a deep song, like, he's speaking on there. I also like Smokey Robinson, where he was like rapping. Like, it's okay. So when you listen to Kahush, you listen to Kahush for the vibes, right? And it's just, it's fun, it's playful, it's just like he's having a blast on the mic, but then when he apparently he also has like a serious side, which I've never really paid attention to.
Pereka. Sorry.
Yeah. So but he has a serious side. Like you said, Maji Haina Shida. Like I really enjoyed that. Just him speaking, man. Like just speaking is hard. Like it's always cool when you get a rapper, especially a rapper who's not known for being deep. When they get into their deep bag and it's not all the way horrible, like that's pretty cool. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. 14 songs.
And I love the ad libs. His ad libs are always hilarious.
Yeah, there doesn't seem like there were any what do you call it? Any collaborations on this project? Any features? Was it just
no collabs. Also the production was done very like. It was done by so many different people.
Yeah.
I expected
Diverse.
to see a few names here, like producers that I know, but like I didn't see them. So I was like, oh, who's he working with? So I guess he was very inspired by different sounds. And I like it. Diverse sounds. There's trap, there's Afrobeats. There's a lot of different vibes there. My favorite song is Pereka for sure. Number 4. Ooh. I don't know. It's fire song. Anyway, shout out to Kahush.
Shout out to Kahush.
Oh, and also I have to say I like the voice notes and it felt very like well put together.
You love a good sentimental voice note, don't you?
Oh, yeah, like, Sam, why you blowing up my spot like this?
You like
Sam,
a good sentimental voice note. You like a good grandmother speaking to my soul on there.
Bro,
yeah, you like yeah.
It's so voice notes are so impactful. I may or may not dabble in voice notes in the future, but listen,
you're saying I'm blowing up your spot and then you further toss a grenade in your yard yourself. All right.
Yeah, but shout out to Kahush. Now, somebody else dropped music, and I want to come out the gate and apologize for not being able to listen to it.
Nice.
And this is Taigwa Goma by Frank White. I couldn't listen to it, bro. Like, this was yesterday. I was trying my best, clicking. I went on my Spotify, my usual app. I couldn't listen to it. I went to it on the Spotify web.
Yep.
I was clicking. I couldn't listen to it. I went to New Music Friday. Like,
Frank
his
White
stuff was grayed out. So I was, bro, like, seriously, no. I tried my best. So I wouldn't be able to give you all my review on Frank White, but I will listen to it during the week because now miraculously I can hear the music again. So it's like what was happening yesterday.
The universe.
So yeah.
Yeah, but no, I listened to it. So
Sam, tell us, what did you think?
I listened to it and it was cool. I mean, if I'm just right off the start, I think it's what I sort of expected from him. He has a very interesting style, very laid back. He doesn't do too much. He says what he needs to say. There was a bunch of features on there. Dovuku is on there. Dreeks is a interesting name. Dreeks is on there. Big Man, Breeder LW. We have Lil Minor on there. I really enjoyed that one. Tempt by Frank White and Lil Minor. VB and Mwana is on there. Nilifa and Iana and a bunch of other people. It was interesting. So there's a couple of themes from the album where he like samples, like on Tempt, he samples Temptations by, I want to say P Square. So he samples that one. On My Boo with Iana, he samples My Boo. Is that what the song is called? By Usher and Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
So there's on that. So he's sort of like borrowing from urban tone, if we're being honest, but then it's not necessarily urban tone style beats, which is interesting.
The spirit of urban tone.
Yeah, the spirit of urban tone, I like that. So that's cool, but then it's really what you expect from him. Which song? Mikono Jew is a very high energy song. People are also loving what he did with Iana. I've seen a lot of people talking about it just because it's a very unlikely pairing, if we're being honest. You wouldn't really see those together, but I liked that. One of my favorites was just Tempt with Lil Minor. I like Lil Minor on that song. I like what he's doing. Lil Minor sounds to me, he sounds like he's channeling the spirit of the older acts in terms of how he's rapping and his inflections and just how he goes about it. So I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, it was a cool project, man. It's a cool project. I do want to sit with it again and just listen to it and go through it. Yeah, it didn't disappoint too much. A lot of it sounded, I would say a lot of it sounded the same, maybe because he used the same producer for a lot of it. So like the beats, and by that I mean like the beat style, the pattern was kind of similar. But I think the producer did enough with it, definitely not to make it sound like the same song over and over again. So, but that's cool. Shout out to him and shout out to him. Shout out to Eugene and whoever took the picture for the album art.
Shout out to everyone involved. Other songs I listened to this week, Washuka by Sophia Nzao and Avion. Bro,
Fire.
That beat is insane.
Fire.
So shout out to Avion. There was Time by Dali and Idaziz. By the way, listen, these guys actually deserve to be in top 5 because they release music like almost every week, but to be honest.
Yeah.
Like there's no week where you never see Idaziz
on there.
Like
he drops a lot.
I don't know when he sleeps. Yeah. There was Just Sent
Making
by
a money on
VBE.
too.
I mean, yeah, the money on. Yeah, so VB, I mean, that's just like a meme song because of the whole Just Send like thing. So yeah.
You don't seem too pleased.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I feel like the Just Send trend like was like a month ago. Like now it just feels like okay. Anyway, there was Explain It by Silverstone Bars and Scam Cardinali. Want to shout out M. Rumbi. Him and Zawadi finally dropped the Jua Tour song, which was on their series. I think everyone was a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that came out? Did you mention Diana Chords?
No, I did not. I did not mention that song. But she did
Diana
drop.
Chords also dropped.
Diana Chords, and who was she with? Furthermore, which was pretty cool. Yeah, man. Not much else. Honestly.
Not much else. So, Sam, what do you think we should play for the end of the podcast?
Let's go to Taigwa Goma for this week. Let's do Mikono Ju by Frank White. It's just a song. It's a song with energy. Brida was also talking like he didn't disappoint on his verse, so it's pretty cool. Let me see who produced this one though. Is it Eugene as well? No, this was produced by Metro Amesuka Doba.
Oh yeah. Metro has been out here like doing some shit. So yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah. So this week we're going to play Mikono Ju for Mr. Frank White and Brida LW.
Yo, Metro Suka Doba.
Yo, Mikono Ju, flow ni cold on a day tuko na flu. Wanajishesha nezo flow za uduna. Tukifika ground hakuna kila neza do. Mikono Ju, flow ni cold on a day tuko na flu. Wanajishesha nezo flow za uduna. Tukifika ground hakuna kila neza do. Mikono Ju, Mikono Ju, Mikono Ju. Rent is due na nimepoka sina clue, sina backup plan, so na speed kawa zima ni to get magali back. Jolly alikula ndimu, she went nuts, mad kawa zimu. Simsima, who got the keys to the block like bima. Niko kwa studio na mzee mzima, tunaleta vibes ina shake chim zima. Washa tutina tumefika sai tu. Mikono Ju kwa unapenda chai tu. Na kume chrome kwani tuko paipu. Sina rada nimefika sai tu. Yo, Mikono Ju, flow ni cold on a day tuko na flu. Wanajishesha nezo flow za uduna. Tukifika ground hakuna kila neza do. Mikono Ju, flow ni cold on a day tuko na flu. Wanajishesha nezo flow za uduna. Tukifika ground hakuna kila neza do.
Mikono Ju alafu bounce na yo groove. Weni kili weni charge uneza puff my zoot if we go to war. Najua tuwezi lose. Nimepiga mandege shori analia nice shoes. I'm too nice, mic check 1 2. Mina doni machimoni nameless wahoo. Came a long way, sim kadi kiwa you. Saini mini kiwa stage wanarusha mkono juu. Juu sana kama rocket za Elon. Tukiwa dogi anaingiza kichwa kwa pilo. Big bati girl bunda fatter than a hippo. Usheseti gunga dunga bitch au migingo. Lakeside boy na mpoa ni wa mountain. Kijana dripi ni kumwagika ka fountain. Born leader kila graomi ni captain. Show ni maza kumaliza kuwa damage.
Yo, Mikono Ju, flow ni cold on a day tuko na flu. wanajishesha na hizo flow za uduna tukifika ground hakuna kila neza du mikono juu flow ni cold on ade tuko na flu wanajishesha na hizo flow za uduna tukifika ground hakuna kila neza du mikono 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 juu mikono 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 juu mikono 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 juu mikono 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 juu check cover journey time neza blown kona big baba kuna kitu mnatushow
It's a big blunder ukitekuleta uso weni rapa na una flow una ambitions za kublow
wanabonga kusugola shughuli za uwaga flop hands in the air sijakam kuwatoka naleta vibe sijakam naitoka
certified showstopper tomba makop blocker pigwa vibari utadhani umekuja Oscars
vile imepaka switcha back intoke blocker
pori imefura huyu kijana aliosa
na live large bro la vida loca yo mikono juu yo mikono juu yo mikono juu yo mikono juu.
Yeah, that was for Mr. Frank White. He teamed up with Breeder LW for the song Mikono Ju. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. I hope the album does well. And I'm just excited to see what he is cooking. Not immediately, of course. We have this thing of doing where when an artist drops, we're like, oh man, this was really cool. I'm excited. What's next? Nah. That bro, chill. He just dropped an album. Of course, if his work rate is high, then shout out to him. I'm yapping. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh my goodness, Sam. We have completed episode 113 of the podcast. I mean, yo, if you are new here, I usually like to end the podcast by kind of giving you all some of my thoughts on how to be successful, especially in the creative space. And these are thoughts that I also try my best to implement into my own life because let's be honest, man, I also need to lock in. So I like to give out the 3 C's, and the 3 C's are essentially confidence. I need you guys to be confident in your art, confident in your creativity. People eat up confidence, and that's what gets your art seen. You need to be consistent in both the creation and the release or distribution of your work. Not telling you to release your work every day or every week, but be consistent with it. And lastly, craft. Always work on your craft, even if you can only dedicate 5 minutes of your day. Because as a creative, I understand, like, sometimes when you're trying to get things off the ground, you have to have some side hustles and this and that and the third to make things work. But if you can only dedicate 5 minutes to your craft, watching something that helps you progress, or maybe even just, messing around with, if you're a painter, just like sketching something for 5 minutes, I don't know, doing something small, that stuff goes a long way. Sam?
Yep, I learned an interesting little thing that should help with productivity this week. It's very simple, but I don't know, for some reason I never thought about it. A lot of successful people are do-it-now people. People like me who are predisposed to anxiety sometimes, we tend to want to wait for the perfect time. Like if you have an idea, oh, I want to work with this artist, oh, let me wait for the perfect time to reach out to them. Oh, it's probably too late, let me wait for morning when they're fresh and, that's when they're going to respond to me, or things like that. But a lot of people are just like immediately, the idea pops in their head. Of course, you have to do it with tact, right? You can't just be running around like a headless chicken. But then they have some sense of urgency in their work. And as a creative, I think that would help, so that you don't have time to think about your plans. Because sometimes thinking about your plans sometimes is the worst thing you could possibly do to them. Thinking about them kills them. It's
true.
Yeah. So you have an idea, get to it now. You want to reach out to somebody, do it. Because it goes hand in hand with anxiety. And the cure for anxiety is not and I don't necessarily mean like clinical anxiety where you have to take medications, but then just that natural anxiety that we have when we're getting into uncomfortable situations. But the cure for anxiety is not waiting for the perfect time to doing it. The cure for anxiety is action. So the moment you get things done and you get over that hump or whatever it is you're sort of freaking out about, then you're able to come out on the other side and you look back, you realize that, oh man, that probably wasn't as terrible. So yeah, it's just cool to be an urgency person.
Agreed.
Yeah. Just be an urgency person. If you want to do something, do it now. Most of the time, what you're afraid of is not really something to be feared. So, yep.
Yeah. Bro, Sam, I think that's so true. Like, I think thinking is the ops, honestly.
Thinking is the ops. It's funny. Thinking is the ops.
Because genuinely, like, that's why even when people are like, you're going skydiving or bungee jumping, they'll be like, listen, no matter what, when we get to 1, you just go. So they're like 3, 2, 1, go. Like, that's what a lot of people do, even in life. You're like, you give yourself a countdown, 3, 2, 1, commit. Don't think about, because when you start thinking about it and then this and that, then you just hesitate.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to eliminate that thinking about things like too much, because thinking is where we go wrong sometimes. I know that sounds like a crazy thing.
It does kind of sound crazy, but it's true. And not saying that you shouldn't plan. I think you should plan. Obviously, planning is definitely a good thing.
Yes.
But for smaller decisions and things like that, even for some big decisions, like just get into it and do it.
For sure.
You'll figure it out later. Yeah, episode 113.
Down the can. We will catch you guys on episode 114.